Yeah. Stalin was the son of a cobbler, and that's an interesting thing. Did you know that one of the occupation most involved in the French Revolution, which again was a revolution from feudalism to capitalism, um, was a cobbler. The cobblers were the most represented among the demonstrating workers, and yet there's no one called cobbler. Interesting thought that. Most other jobs, bakers, all the rest of it, I've got a name, hoopers for barrels, etc. Shoemaker even, but nobody's called cobblers. Cobblers. Anyway, the speed, they tried to leapfrog these young people in Mao Zedong and Chou Enlai. It seems strange to talk of them as being young, and other revolutionaries like Lenin. They thought that they could leapfrog from feudalism to socialism without passing through the necessarily periods of development known as capitalism. You see, people get it wrong and think we just hate capitalism. We don't hate capitalism in comparison to feudalism. Capitalism is a good thing in comparison to feudalism because it's a movement, and it creates the infrastructure and the marketing infrastructure which can then be utilised by socialists as society develops. And this, after Russian mistakes, because they didn't concentrate on consumer goods and they had to live in a competitive world. The capitalist world wasn't going to sit back and let them develop as they wanted to, and that's why you had the Cold War and the arms race and all the rest of it, so that a socialist planned society would not work. They ensured that. But to return to China, people are confused by the fact that I think China is a developing country and a worthwhile country, and it's on the right track. And believe you me, the communists in China know exactly what they are doing. They are creating a capitalist society from a feudalist society, but it is a managed and regulated capitalist society, and which is pointed in the direction of socialism with Chinese characteristics, is what they fondly call it, And that, they are not making the mistakes that the Russians made. But they have to compromise, and I think it's working out. The progress they have made is absolutely astonishing, and they have recently returned to the National Health Service to public hands again. So I hope that is a general move in the future. The Chinese will develop into a socialist society in the fullness of time. They recognise that we evolve. There is nothing constant except change, and it's how we change, and that's why the old communists talked about the capitalist road, but none of the people in the West ever asked capitalist road to where, because it is the capitalist road to socialism they were talking about, and that's what they have adopted in China, and they have improved the lives of millions and millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. For the first time in history, no child need go to bed hungry in China, a land of famine. That's why they eat so many different things, like in Asia, that part of it, dogs and insects and the like, because when you've got no choice, you eat what you can get, and it gives them a wider variant of foods anyway. But I'm a vegetarian, and we'll talk about that some other time. But Karl Marx was out of sync in the sense that he didn't realise that people from a historical period before him would be reading his works and trying to take advantage of it. But in actual fact, he predicted that it was the West which would produce the first socialist revolution, a capitalist society, an industrial society. It could have been Germany in 1919 if it had spread. There was Soviets set up in Bavaria in 1919. But the circumstances could arrive again when we recognise that we do not live in a democracy. We have class rule in our society, no matter how they dress it up as democracy. The same group of people own most of the wealth and make most of the laws ultimately as well. And they are the professional bourgeoisie. who do not dirty their hands or go to work or sweep any streets or clean any streets or make anything or and do much of anything really except screw each other's wives and talk about morality.